The most dangerous prison isn't made of concrete or steel. It's invisible. It lives inside your head. And the jailer, your own thoughts. Think about it. Every success, every failure, every dream you've ever given up on began with a single thought. If your mind is scattered, negative, full of doubt, your life will reflect that chaos. But if your thoughts are clear, disciplined, and directed with purpose, the world has no choice but to bend in your favor. This is not motivation. This is law. The law that says, as you think, so shall you become. The power to transform your entire life is already in your hands. Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now in this very moment. So, today I'm going to show you how to take control of your thoughts, rewire your inner dialogue, and unlock the kind of clarity, confidence, and unstoppable power that leads to wealth, peace, and unshakable success. This is the secret the world's most powerful men and women have always known. And it's the same secret that can transform your life. Starting now, every result in your life today, your health, your wealth, your relationships, even your confidence, started as a thought that may sound dramatic, but pause for a moment and trace it back. The job you're working at right now didn't just appear out of nowhere. At some point you thought, I should apply for that position. The relationship you're in began with a thought, I should talk to this person. So even the body you live in, whether fit or unhealthy, reflects the thoughts that shaped your core daily choices over weeks, months, and years. Here's the truth. You are not living life as it is. You are living life as you think it is. That subtle distinction makes all the difference. Two people can walk into the same situation, say starting a business, and one sees opportunity, while the other sees only obstacles. Same environment, different outcome. Why? Because one person's thoughts are trained to look for possibilities, while the others are trained to look for problems. This is not just philosophy. It's psychology and science. Neuroscientists tell us that our thoughts fire and wire together, forming patterns in the brain called neural pathways. The more you repeat a thought, the more that pathway strengthens until it becomes your default lens on the world. Think negative thoughts long enough and your brain literally becomes wired for negativity. But repeat empowering thoughts and your mind starts to filter the world through possibility, strength, and abundance. Let me give you a story to bring this home. Imagine two men starting from nothing. The first man tells himself every morning, I'll never get ahead. The system is rigged. People like me just can't win. He drags himself through each day with that soundtrack playing in his mind. Even when opportunities show up, he either doesn't notice them or he finds reasons to dismiss them. He's trained his mind to reject possibility. The second man wakes up and tells himself, there has to be a way. I don't care how hard it gets. I'll figure it out. He doesn't have more resources, but he has a different mindset. He approaches problems like puzzles, not walls. Over time, the same brain that was once filled with doubt becomes sharp, creative, and solution-oriented. Eventually, he sees doors where others only see barriers, and those doors lead to wealth, freedom, and success. Now, here's the key. Your thoughts are not passive. They are commands. Every time you dwell on something, you're giving your subconscious mind an order. When you think, I'm not good enough, your subconscious accepts it and starts filtering your actions to match. When you think, I am capable, I am resourceful, I will figure this out, your subconscious goes to work, proving you right. That's why Napoleon Hill, after studying the most successful men of his generation, Carnegie, Ford, Edison concluded that thought is the starting point of all riches. Before any invention, fortune, or empire existed in the world, it first existed in a person's mind. Henry Ford was ridiculed when he declared he would build a V-Bat engine. Engineers told him it was impossible. Ford simply refused to think it was impossible. He held that thought with conviction, and eventually his team figured out how to build it. His belief shaped reality. So let me ask you, what kind of reality are your thoughts building right now? Are they constructing a future of freedom, abandonance, and fulfillment, or are they quietly reinforcing mediocrity, excuses, and self-sabotage? Here's the sobering fact. The life you're experiencing right now is not an accident. It's evidence of your past thinking. If you don't like where you are, the solution isn't to fight your circumstances. It's to upgrade your thoughts. That's the root. That's the seed. Picture your mind as a fertile field. Every thought you plant is a seed. Plant doubt and you harvest hesitation. Plant fear and you harvest paralysis. Plant faith, vision, and discipline, and you reap courage, progress, and prosperity. You can't sow weeds and expect roses. You can't feed your mind. Garbage, negative news, toxic conversations, endless distraction, and then wonder why. Your results feel chaotic. The good news is you are the farmer. You choose the seeds. You decide what grows in the field of your mind. And once you begin planting deliberately, you will be astonished at how fast life begins to change. Of course, this doesn't happen overnight. Just like a muscle, the mind strengthens with training. Controlling your thoughts isn't about repressing them. It's about selecting them. It's about saying, I refuse to let this fear dominate me. I choose a thought of courage instead, or I reject this excuse. He choose a discipline. Each time you make that choice, right, you grow stronger. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your old habits of thinking will try to pull you back. That inner critic will whisper, "Who are you kidding? You've always been like this." But every time you override it, every time you redirect your thoughts back toward purpose, you are building the muscle of mastery. And just like physical exercise, what feels difficult at the beginning becomes natural with repetition. The transformation of your life does not begin outside. It begins inside. When you master your thoughts, you master your destiny. Circumstances may shift, storms may come, but if your thinking is steady, your direction is unshakable. You are no longer a victim of what happens to you. You become the architect of what happens through you. So let this sink in. The greatest wealth is not in your bank account. It's in your mindset. A poor man with a rich mind will eventually rise. A rich man with a poor mind will eventually fall. It's not about luck, background, or even education. It's about what dominates. Your thinking day after day. Your mind is your greatest weapon or your greatest enemy. And in this very moment you hold the power to decide which it will be. If your thoughts shape your reality, then discipline is the steering wheel. Without discipline, your mind drifts like a ship without a captain. It wanders into fear, doubt, comparison, or distraction. And once it drifts, your life drifts with it. But when you take hold of your thoughts with discipline, you seize the power to chart your own course. Here's what most people don't realize. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. Think about a professional athlete. They wake up early, train daily, and refuse distractions, not because they enjoy sacrifice for its own sake, but because they've chosen a destiny. Every ounce of discipline is directed energy, moving them closer to victory. Your mind works the same way. Discipline is about choosing your thoughts with precision, then repeating them until they become second nature. It's not about fighting every negative idea that crosses your mind. It's about creating an environment where the right thoughts dominate so strongly that the wrong ones have no room to grow. Start with the morning. Most people begin their day in chaos, scrolling through their phone, reacting to messages. Right, letting the noise of the world decide how they feel. But disciplined thinkers know the first thoughts of the day set the tone for everything that follows. Instead of reacting, they take 5 minutes of silence, speak affirmations, visualize their goals, and focus their energy before the world demands it. It may seem small, but those first few moments are the difference between drifting and directing. Here's a truth to tattoo on your mind. A distracted mind cannot create wealth. Confusion never built an empire. Indecision never built confidence. The universe does not reward scattered energy. It rewards clarity and consistency. That's why successful people seem magnetic. Their thoughts are so focused on their purpose that everything else bends to support it. But let's be honest, discipline isn't easy. Your mind will resist. The moment you try to focus, it will offer you 1,000 reasons to stop. Check your notifications. Take a break. Do it tomorrow. Tomorrow, that inner resistance is normal. It's proof you're rewiring your brain. Think of it like lifting weights. At first, every rep burns, but with each repetition, your strength grows. The same is true with thought. Each time you redirect your mind back to your purpose, you strengthen the muscle of mental discipline. One powerful exercise is to practice conscious redirection. Whenever you catch yourself drifting into doubt, stop and ask, does this thought serve my purpose? If the answer is no, replace it immediately. Swap fear with faith. Replace excuses with action. It doesn't matter how many times your mind wanders. What matters is how many times you bring it back over time. This practice transforms your default setting from scattered to focused. Let's make this real. Imagine you're building wealth. You tell yourself, I will create financial freedom, but then fear creeps in. And everything, instead of letting that thought spiral, discipline demands you replace it with failure is feedback. Every step moves me closer to success. At first, it feels forced. But as you repeat it daily with emotion and conviction, it becomes natural. Your subconscious absorbs it, and soon your actions align with your new belief. That's the essence of discipline. Repetition with purpose, not blind repetition, but deliberate, intentional training of the mind. You wouldn't expect a single workout to transform your body. You can't expect one positive thought to transform your life, but repeat it daily with persistence, and your mental muscles grow unstoppable. Remember, the mind is like a child. It doesn't do what you say once. It does what you train it to do repeatedly. And just like a child, if you leave it unsupervised, it will run wild. Discipline is your job as the guardian of thought. Guard it with vigilance. Direct it with love. Command it with authority. When you practice this kind of mental discipline, something powerful happens. Your confidence grows. Not the shallow confidence that depends on luck or applause, but a deep, unshakable certainty that comes from knowing your thoughts are aligned with your vision. That certainty makes you bold. It gives you the courage to take risks, the resilience to endure setbacks, and the focus to ignore distractions. So understand, this discipline is the bridge between thought and destiny. Without it, your mind betrays you. With it, your mind serves you, and the one who commands his mind commands his future. Doubt is quiet. It doesn't storm into your mind with drums and trumpets. It slips in like a whisper, disguised as logic. It tells you, be careful, don't risk it. Maybe you're not ready. And if you listen long enough, that whisper becomes your truth. Fear works the same way. It doesn't need to paralyze you with terror. It only needs to plant hesitation. One small pause, one missed opportunity, one excuse to play it safe. That's all it takes to keep you stuck in the same place for years. The tragedy is that most people never recognize doubt and fear for what they are. They think they're being cautious, reasonable, even responsible. But in reality, they're letting their future slip away. One hesitant thought at a time. Here's the law: every thought you tolerate will eventually show up in your results. If you tolerate doubt in your mind, you'll tolerate failure in your life. If you feed fear with your attention, it will grow until it rules your decisions. But the same law works in your favor. If you install faith, if you choose courage, those qualities will also show up in your life. Think of it like programming. Your mind is the most advanced computer ever designed, but it can only run the code you give it. If you program fear, you'll run the program of retreat. If you program doubt, you'll run the program of hesitation. But if you program faith, clarity, and determination, your mind begins running the program of success. Napoleon Hill said it plainly: "You doubt is the silent assassin of dreams." And he was right. History is filled with men and women who lost everything, not because they lacked talent, not because they lacked opportunity, but because they allowed doubt to whisper them out of action. Let's take an example. Picture an entrepreneur with a brilliant idea. He spends weeks refining it, researching it, talking about it, but then the doubts come. What if I'm not qualified? What if no one buys it? What if I fail? So he waits. He did this. He convinces himself he's being practical. Months pass. Then years. Someone else brings the same idea to life and changes the world. The only difference: one person let doubt win. The other refused to listen. So how do you guard yourself against these enemies? The first step is awareness. You must learn to catch doubtful thoughts the moment they appear. Don't argue with them. Don't wrestle with them. Replace them immediately. Just as a gardener pulls weeds before they take root, you must pull doubt and fear before they spread. The second step is repetition. You don't fight doubt once and expect it to vanish forever. You fight it daily. When doubt says you can't,